Ian Jomha and George Miller are two of the biggest internet icons in history. Both of their biggest projects are massively well known, loved by millions and in some cases billions of people. Both their YouTube channels, iDubbbzTV and TV Filthy Frank, were cultural pillars for YouTube during its infamous edgy phase. But now, 7 years later, one of them has reached catastrophic heights with a ton of love from his community, and the other is iDubbbz. With rise and fall videos made seemingly daily, hundreds of controversies involving him, and a former fanbase in disarray, it is clear that one of them managed to make the transition of content correctly, while the other did not. This is how Joji did what iDubbbz couldn't.
Making his TV debut, please welcome Joji!
What I think is his most accomplished work of art yet.
YouTuber gone alternative heavyweight George Miller.
What we do here is go back.
He's making a content cop on his
It seems like every person has their own reason to be a former fan rather than a viewer.
Ironic, hilarious, and pathetic, all at the same time.
Many people across the internet feel incredibly nostalgic for the period spanning between 2015 and 2017, which they conveniently refer to as 2016 YouTube. 2016 was a time where politics and commentary on YouTube were really finding their footing, with nearly everybody on the platform making content about the next social justice warrior, and with every commentator being just a sweaty kid in their bedroom at 3 in the morning, making a video calling another person ugly because they stole their thumbnail. There were a few people that really stood out. When somebody talks about how much they love 2016 YouTube, unless they're referring to politics, they're really talking about the Big Ten. Pyrocynical, H3H3, Grade A Under, Leafy, Losses Crazy, Keemstar. But the most infamous, and arguably iconic of that lot, are undoubtedly the group that keep getting their photo posted on the Things That Changed the Internet Twitter account. That being MaxMoefoe, Anything for Views, and the subjects of today's video, iDubbbzTV and TV Filthy Frank. The content that these four made together are really relics of the past, with some of their more gruesome challenges like the Cake Trilogy now being wiped from YouTube. Nevertheless, the content that they did make was incredibly iconic. They accumulated literally billions of views together. Frank and iDubbbz would collaborate a lot, with one of iDubbbz's staple characters on his channel being a side character on the Filthy Frank channel as well. Many people dumb down these people as just being icons for edgy 16-year-olds, but both of them are synonymous with some huge memes and inside jokes across the platform to this day, including
"Hey, that's pretty good,"
or
"I have crippling depression,"
or
"Shut the fuck up,"
as well as the well-renowned
"I'm gay."
They were also the catalyst to references that go out of their own circle of influence, like the Harlem Shake being created as a joke by Frank, the green screen edits of Frank being used literally everywhere,
It's time to stop, okay?
or the Reese's Puffs song being largely popularized by iDubbbz. Their standalone content was also incredibly huge, Filthy Frank's parody songs being incredibly iconic, and, of course, his videos, with no videos at all from the last 9 years having less than 1 million views, and videos such as 100 accurate life hacks wielding a whopping 41 million views. That is insane for a non-music video. His channel was an absolute icon in the YouTube scene. Filthy Frank's ironic music was a staple feature of the channel, with a full-length album titled Pink Season being uploaded with widespread support of its outlandish nature. The character he played in his videos was obviously not his real personality. He even stated in his YouTube channel description that Filthy Frank is the embodiment of everything a person should not be. There is no denying that the show is terribly offensive, but this terrible offensiveness is a parody of the whole social media machine. He was a caricature of the worst person social media would show, ahead of his time in many ways, as the popular vloggers of the time would become more akin to him, but unironically. iDubbbz was no less influential, with no videos in the last 6 years before November 2022 wielding less than 1 million views. His Content Cop series blasted shockwaves throughout the YouTube community almost every single time he uploaded one.
iDubbbz coming through with the content cop.
Content cop.
Content cop.
Content cop.
Content cop.
When he releases a content comp, that's like a YouTube holiday for me.
I had a lot of people come over and dislike my videos.
Some of the biggest content cops changed the subject's reputation forever without any recovery, really. Completely completely turning the internet against Leafy, proving him to not be the untouchable bully that everyone seemed to think he was, with the ongoing No Chin segment in the video still holding some level of relevance today. Tana Mongeau also admitted on the No Jumper podcast that she deserved the content cop.
But I deserved it 100%, and the content cop was good.
His most popular episode, however, was on the infamous internet bully known as Rice Gum, who had called him out a year prior. Due to being so hungry for attention, iDubbbz pulled the incredible move of not saying the word Rice Gum himself at any point throughout the video, instead calling him Asian Jake Paul, and even giving the title a red herring of being called Content Cop Jake Paul. This video was massive and groundbreaking, ending on a diss track that is still a club banger to this day and arguably better than any of Brian's own music, featuring huge names like Jax Films, H3H3, Boy in a Band, PewDiePie, and even the man himself, Post Malone. The video was amazing, shattering Rice Gum's chance of a response, giving it over 1 million dislikes. iDubbbz also made other content, of course. His bad unboxing videos were a huge feature of the channel, and many iconic moments came from them as well, including the name that he gave to his fanbase, which I can't say here, well, I can't actually say it in general. He would also upload videos called iDubbbz Complains, where he made a more like I Hate Everything style video, laid back complaining about a generalized topic. And his documentaries on Dax Flame or Airsoft Fatty getting 7 million and 23 million views, respectively. I mean to say, they were kind of a big deal. Sort of. So, what happened to them? Many people are already aware of where the TV Filthy Frank YouTube channel is. It's dead. That's where it is. No uploads since the 27th of September 2017, with videos being taken down every now and then by YouTube for violating their more recent guidelines. He left, more unusually, for reasons that are not due to him getting banned from the platform or getting cancelled, rather for health reasons. Listening to half a second of one of Frank's videos, one would hear that his voice is incredibly difficult to do without wrecking your vocal cords. He published a tweet regretfully stating that he was quitting, claiming that the decision was final. He said that he owed his fanbase a reason for quitting comedy, and simply narrowed his reasoning down to serious health conditions such as throat tissue damage and neurological conditions. He wished his fanbase the best, and said that he would be continuing onto further projects. That was that. The Filthy Frank channel would not receive any content again, aside from one tweet in 2019. Frank signed off his leaving tweet with the name Joji.
Joji!
Oh my god, I love Joji!
Love Joji.
He got a great voice.
My most favorite Joji tracks ever, Turn Up Here.
Joji was a musical project, inspired by the support of and his passion for making the music on Filthy Frank. Joji moved into making serious musical passion projects, all of which being commercial successes. The success would increase rapidly as he dropped his first studio album, Ballads 1, released in 2018. The largest song on the album, Slow Dancing in the Dark, becoming a worldwide hit and accumulating over 1 billion listens on Spotify, with the album now having almost 3 billion listens. His second studio album is also a huge sensation, and an even bigger banger. Hitting hundreds of millions of listens and featuring the mainstream artists like Lil Yachty and Benny, it was undoubtedly a massive success even on a non-YouTube musician standards. His latest release, Smithereens, includes the viral sensation Glimpse of Us, which had a devastatingly real music video and is a brilliant ballad in itself. It has amassed almost 1 billion streams on Spotify so far, with over 971,000 videos made on TikTok using the official song. Aside from complaints that the album was fairly mediocre, the amount of praise for the songs Die For You and the interlude really outshone the amount of controversy that there was. Frank would only come back to haunt Frank a couple of times when new audiences to Joji discovered the pink skeleton in his closet and were disgusted. There was very little effect from it, of course, though. Aside from the term Joji is over party trending on Twitter a couple of times due to stan accounts frantically tweeting the term. But aside from this, Joji's career would only skyrocket. His Joji channel reached over 1.2 billion views, the same number as his Filthy Frank channel. Not only had he soared to similar heights, he had gone greater heights and even reached the mainstream. iDubbbz, on the other hand, never really disappeared in the same drastic way. Far from it. He ruled the internet for years after the fact. His history following his peak is far more documented than George's for this reason. After dropping the ginormous content cop Jake Paul on the 3rd of October 2017, the possibility for another content cop was only really a rumour. Hundreds of videos would be made speculating the creation of another one, but to no avail.
I'm getting old. I think in general, it's more ideas in the crosshair rather than people.
Ian would gradually begin to admit that the content cops were slowly coming to a close, but it's not like his content was going anywhere. On the 31st of July, Ian dropped Full Force. This was an instant classic documentary going over the internet icon Airsoft Fatty, shedding brand new unseen light on the character, as well as humanizing him in many ways. This was praised by audiences all across the internet, claiming that it was fantastic to see a more positive styled content cop episode.
The docu-series is almost the antithesis of the content cop, but instead of criticizing people, you are finding people living in the shadows of YouTube a little bit and rising them up.
This proved to be a very good idea because less than 6 months later, the content cop Leafy is Here was taken down as an example from YouTube of the brand new harassment and bullying community guidelines. Along with this, they removed Leafy's response and a Colossal is Crazy video. Not long prior to this, he had uploaded his final bad unboxing episode. In retrospect, those guidelines look like they may have ended his 2 most popular series. He continued as normal-ish, uploading a number of other videos until one day, disaster struck. Disaster struck because it turned out that iDubbbz was a iDubbbz's girlfriend of the time, now wife, Anissa Jamhar, announced on Twitter as a joke that her streaming career was doing so badly that they were one bad stream away from an OnlyFans career. Many adult industry workers criticised her for this joke, to which she clarified that she was supportive of them and did not mean any harm. A few months later, she publicly declared that she was indeed beginning an OnlyFans career. The internet naturally did what the internet does and mocked iDubbbz for it. Some people were genuinely upset, but for the most part people were just making fun of him. Especially being the edgy icon that he was, he had an assumed reputation of disliking people in the adult industry, with him shaming sex workers in the green screen challenge video that he had created. Now, I would personally not be comfortable with this, and a lot of people echoed this sentiment.
Yo, iDubbbz, I love you, my G, but yeah, the whole girlfriend thing. If my girlfriend wanted to do OnlyFans, she's getting removed.
As my best friend here, JJ, said, it's iDubbbz's decision whether or not he supports it, and many content creators echoed this as well. It's not the audience's place to decide what goes on, but at the same time, they're allowed to make comments on it because they are the internet after all. Ian initially played it off by jokingly tweeting, "No more Mr. Nice Simp," and the internet was almost ready to move on until he uploaded Sex Workers, iDubbbz Complains, in which he defended himself by going on offense against the people in his audience upset with him. Many people were taken aback, because a lot of Americans that are pro-free speech, edgy comedians, tend to be conservative and therefore quite anti-sex work. The video was not really taken that well, with a 2-to-1 like to dislike ratio, at which point, however, many people defended him. While being a nothing burger, really, it was quite the big deal. Even Leafy returned to YouTube to make fun of him for it. Soon after, he uploaded his documentary on Dax Flame. He continued as normal, except his content was far more liberal than it used to be. Nothing wrong with that, but viewers got a bit more curious about the change.
We're here to talk about our woke liberal boxing event.
Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Ian announced a huge boxing event called Creator Clash after the success of other internet boxing events such as the KSI vs Logan Paul event in 2018. The Creator Clash concept actually originated from Ian calling out RiceGum for a boxing match, to prove that RiceGum was a coward and would never really fight anyone in real life despite saying that he would. Releasing the video You're Hiding From Me on the 29th of October 2021. iDubbbz still had the connection of the esteemed content cop in this way. The event was a commercial and reputational success, with big names like me, I mean the odd ones out, on the cards. This charity event and the match were so successful that he decided to do another one. In the meantime, however, he thought he would make another documentary, because why not? The documentaries were typically very well received, mainly because of how uncontroversial Ian was in them. But then he decided to make one on Sam Hyde.
I'll be out there committing a crime and stalking him because I'm gay and I'm obsessed with him.
The United States Marines, get out of the cities.
I'm watching you through your window.
Boom!
Sam is one of the most absurd internet figures to gain a following as large as he has. A man so controversial that he was able to get his own Adult Swim show, and then even more controversial that he was able to get the very same show cancelled. If you're completely out of the loop on who this man is, the Wikipedia page has a whole section dedicated to shooting and terrorism hoaxes, placed neatly after life and career and pranks. Keep note that there are only 4 sections to his Wikipedia page. Many viewers adored Hyde's ridiculous, uncensored nature, where he would pull pranks with so many layers of irony that it's almost as difficult to understand as why it disappeared. Many felt that the mainstream media had purposefully villainized Sam for this. Ian, with his history of edgy content and being blasted by the media but standing firm within it, was a perfect candidate to make the video on him. No matter how well Ian made it though, it was a dodgy ballgame to play, so after recording the documentary, he decided to cancel the game. Sam was left wondering and was disappointed what happened to the show that he created for iDubbbz TV. Frustrated by a lack of release a year after the documentary was filmed, and feeling that his show had completely gone to waste, Sam released The Truth About iDubbbz. The Hyde Cut, if you will, hence forcing Ian's hand into releasing his own version, taken mostly uncontroversially outside of Sam's audience. But with Ian's reputation as an edgy guy, it made some of Sam's viewers quite uncomfortable. Well, not nearly as much as Sam made Ian uncomfortable though.
No, I haven't tried to get her any help.
Shut up!
Sadly, for many audiences, despite thinking that Ian would be the perfect candidate to make an unbiased video on Sam, he seemed to be trying to criticize Sam Hyde's previous edgy humor while staying impartial to the concept of edginess. Particularly in iDubbbz's version of the video, he seemed to be more against Sam's controversial comedy. The video was almost painful to watch as Sam put on a wild show full of lies about his life while Ian did his best to break through the mask.
If this doesn't make sense, that's because it doesn't make any sense. It's meant to confuse you.
Gosh, you can see why he suffered dealing with Sam. This is hilarious. After this upload, many debated who was in the right. Many in particular were upset with iDubbbz for criticizing Sam's edgy meta-irony humor when iDubbbz too had indulged in ironic, not ironic, edgy humor. It was difficult to discern whether or not iDubbbz left Sam with a positive feeling or not, but it was easy to speculate that he did not like Mr. Hyde at all. Viewers felt quite annoyed that Ian was making content with a completely different sole purpose from what the Sam Hyde type fans in the audience were used to and or wanted. However, immediately after, Ian got right back into the creator clash grind. Ian would not properly strike controversy again until the lead up to the second Creator Clash event, where a comedy rapper and veteran YouTuber, Froggy Fresh, was kicked out of the car. This caused absolute uproar. A shocking amount, in fact. Content creators left, right, and centre came to defend Froggy, while many others came to defend Ian's decision. People believed that Froggy calling out a troll account presumed to be Ian's mother-in-law may have caused the ban, or his jokes about Anissa's OnlyFans. But some even thought that Froggy's association with Sam Hyde may have caused the ban. While this was taking place, gosh, his physique looks so much better. Ian appeared on Auntie Padilla's I Spent a Day With show, where he discussed his controversial past, in which he made some interesting comments about his old fan base.
There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with.
In person?
Yeah, in person, that just sucked.
This caused even more uproar around the YouTube space to coincide with the hate over Froggy Fresh. Ian was very blatantly opposed to his old viewers and talked quite emotionally about how he did not want to be seen as the massive edgy creator that he is. Creator Clash 2 took place and was yet another commercial success. Well, as much as you could say it was when it lost 250 grand. It ended off with Ian emotionally thanking everybody and saying that he understands he may not be everyone's cup of tea, to which people still made fun of him. But now that Creator Clash was over, Ian could bite. Ian uploaded a video titled Addressing the Froggy Fresh Drama, where he blatantly says, "Yes," in response to the complaints that he dropped Froggy because of Sam Hyde and the comments about Anissa.
I don't want anything to do with Sam. I don't want anything to do with people that think what Sam is doing is okay.
In the video, Ian roasts all the people calling him out by using nerd emojis at any point that Bo Blacks and Nicholas Diorio speak. He essentially wanted to put his foot down and say that he would not allow for somebody to attend his event if they were associating with people that were harassing him and his wife. The video was overwhelmingly poorly received, for an iDubbbz video at least, with 75,000 likes to 84,000 dislikes. Possibly the first ever negatively skewed iDubbbz video. Many were critical of how iDubbbz was using arguments that he used to call cringe, and how Ian was disingenuous with all the information he showed in the video. It was also quite an edgy comedian rookie error to give a notorious internet troll even more ammo against you. Many viewers got quite a shock in how, when Leafy mocked Ian's hairline, he shaved his hair to prove that he wasn't even insecure about it. Then years later, when Sam calls him a goblin, he tells the audience that it's not okay. People felt like he had completely shifted away from the content that he used to make, leaving numerous commenters saying, "I miss the old iDubbbz." This video was uploaded to finally clamp down on the criticism he was receiving. Ian wanted to fully open up to the world that he had changed from who he was and was now not the edgy creator that they thought he was. He apologised for all the Content Cop episodes that were misfires or harmed people outside of the video's target, as well as specifically apologising to Tana for being so harsh on her when she was only 19.
I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel.
Similarly, the like ratio was almost 2-to-1 yet again, and is one of his most controversial videos to date for his old viewers. And when I say controversial, I mean it in its actual definition, as in it caused many conflicting opinions, as well as unlisting all the Content Cops so that nobody could watch them without watching his video disavowing them. Ian takes full accountability and ownership in the video, with countless people saying that he shouldn't, and countless people saying that it was for the good of everything, I guess. Following this, he confessed that his boxing event, Creator Clash 2, lost $250,000, hence making no money and no money going to charity. This only provided the haters with more ammunition against him. To make up for it, he did a charity stream, in which he did make back some of the money. Regardless, after all the pushback on how the event was all for charity, it ended up not giving any money to charity, fueling the pro-Froggy crowd, dividing Ian's audience even more. Two icons, two faces. Very similar level of edginess to their content, very similar size, and very similar reputation. Both have gone for far safer and more advertiser-friendly content now, with Joji releasing a non-explicit version of his latest album, and Ian making squirrel videos. Yet, one of them is still universally loved, while the other has
the devastating fall of iDubbbz, from Content Cop to the big cringe
videos made on him. Now, why is this? Now, if you've been paying attention, as I've compared and contrasted these two stories, you may be able to see at face value how Frank managed to quit with very little controversy while iDubbbz couldn't. You see, it mainly boils down to pandering correctly, ironically enough. George received word from his doctor that there were health concerns related to his making content. Coinciding with his lack of passion for the current line of his videos, it was a perfect time to dip completely. Joji went full steam ahead and took on a complete rebrand, to the point that people were surprised to find out that Filthy Frank existed after being introduced to Joji. He released brand new musical projects semi-consistently and had a huge new creative output to share to the world. By contrast, iDubbbz continued to tease brand new Content Cops frequently and attempted to silently branch out with other videos instead. His edginess came to a halt very slowly in comparison. iDubbbz had wanted to live down the edgy name for years without success, with the first line on Wikipedia saying, "He is better known for his comedy video series including Content Cop." Ian attempted to sort of do the same videos but with a more pro-PC twist, which confused viewers in some ways, admitting that he was impartial to Leafy's ban from YouTube all the way to telling people that Sam Hyde's offensive content was harmful. Likewise, Joji used a very solid excuse and completely dipped into a single clear statement. He wrote a heartfelt apology and went on a new path. iDubbbz, on the other hand, slowly transitioned his content and stayed quiet on his old videos while trying to make more and more dull videos that less and less people were actually interested in. Meaning that within the last year he dropped from never having a video below 1 million views to constant 6-figure videos, which is not bad at all, don't get me wrong, but it's vastly smaller than before. Ian also kept making videos that were just not what people were interested in. They thought that the Dax Flame and Airsoft Fatty videos were awesome, but then Ian tried to lean into actually proving a point in his documentary that was the opposite of what he used to preach. And when he wasn't doing that, he was making the most safe and dull videos, creating tier lists and doing squirrel videos that people really didn't subscribe to see, or were just things that unfamiliar viewers were not appealed by, hence a decline in viewership. On the other hand, Joji went straight into making music, which is something he very clearly had talent for, and the audience were somewhat prepared for him doing. He did not rely on his old viewers liking him while simultaneously trying to avoid them in the way that iDubbbz did. In fact, he would go out of his way to please his old fans on occasion by calling the audience people of culture when they started chanting his YouTube name in a concert. He also made the concert on his tour to be completely crazy, a bit like his old Frank content, and had people trying to explain to others that this is what he actually used to be like. Ian instead went and insulted his old fans consistently, as well as removed the Content Cop videos to avoid any association with them. On top of this, when Frank left the platform, he was very understanding of how upset his former fans may be, and was very respectful of their dismay, stating, "While it genuinely pains me to say this," to imply that he too was sad to let it go, "I really can't express how grateful I am to you all, nor will I ever forget the relationship that we had together," ending off by telling his fans that he hopes that they too succeed with their dreams. Ian was harsh, angry, and on the offense against his former fans in all of these controversial videos that he made, acting like they are stupid for not agreeing with him, while also simultaneously trying to put the entire blame on himself. With all of these things, hopefully one can recognise why George's approach works and Ian's did not. But on top of this, there was one more crucial thing. Let's reread the TV Filthy Frank description. Filthy Frank is the embodiment of everything a person should not be. He is anti-PC, anti-social, and anti-couth. He behaves and reacts excessively to everything expressly to highlight the ridiculousness of racism, misogyny, legalism, injustice, ignorance, and other social blights. George was never meant to be a role model. He was intentionally horrible, and was so in such a way that most people could tell he was ironic in almost everything he said. With that being said, he was also a character. Everybody knew that once the camera was off, he was a regular guy. Hence, he could dissociate from the Filthy Frank name very easily because it was not really him. Just like how Joji may also be somewhat of a different character to him. He may be a character closer to who George is, but he is not by any stretch of the imagination the Filthy Frank character. On the other hand, Ian is iDubbbz. The Content Cop episodes, while having levels of irony, jokes, and skits in themselves, were making genuine points against other people. What iDubbbz said in those videos actually meant something. So when he disagrees with the take, he can't just take the blame on the character. When something ages poorly, it actually harms him as a person. Having a collaboration with Boy in a Band in a video where he calls out Rice Gum for the horrible things he's said and done to women, for example, has aged poorly. Because he was actually making arguments in the video. George's videos criticising things/people were mostly intended for humour. Ian also made an entire video explaining why his edgy humour was alright, whereas George's entire channel was built on the fact that it was exaggerated to be horrible and offensive purely for entertainment. Ian was anti-PC by nature, whereas George was anti-PC by choice. Aside from the Tanner Content Cop, if you took away the edgy humour, they would be fundamentally the same videos. The Rice Gum episode, for example, just calls him a homophobic slur once, for no reason at all, and leaves it there. If removed, there would be literally no difference. The TV Filthy Frank channel, however, had the horrible, publicly deplorable content ingrained into it and was part of what made it interesting to so many people. It was meant to be bad. On top of that, when iDubbbz completely disavowed the idea that all of it is okay or none of it is okay in his I Miss the Old iDubbbz video, it seemed that he misunderstood his own point of the Tanner Content Cop, and my personal takeaway from it when I watched it.
At the end of the day, you were calling out a white dude for saying the N-word. That's pretty common, right?
But where did I have the room to call him out, you know?
The point of the video was actually to highlight Tanner's hypocrisy in self-censoring the N-word but not the F-slur, to which Ian essentially argued that you should not pick and choose what's wrong to say compared to anything else because they're just as harmful to other people. On the flip side of this, while I've argued that Ian was making genuine points, he also did not take himself too seriously before. He would make an argument, but then would justify it by proving that he isn't the thing he's criticising through mocking himself and doing the disgusting things that he did back then. I see him almost as Eminem in a way. bear with me on this. Mathers also used to joke around and make funny content while occasionally bringing up actual points, therefore making his real points hit a lot harder, whereas now he takes himself far too seriously as well. At the end of the day, both of these people will be looked at as a former great, as opposed to a current magnificent being in the YouTube space. But the difference is that only one of them has a whole new career that they are looked on as a current titan of. It is cool to see Ian turn away from what he believed to be his genuine beliefs that were in some ways harmful to other people. It's good that he actually goes outside and isn't a basement dweller anymore, especially in comparison to Leafy, who's attempting to have the entire world turn on him at this point with his definitely funny and not repetitive tweets. It is also amazing to listen to Joji music casually and barely even register that this is the guy that made the Cake trilogy. It just shows how his music holds up so well even without his old name attached to it. Both of these people made some of the most chaotically brilliant videos on the platform. It's just a shame to see one of them fall down a road leading to mass negative reception, while the other is, for the most part, loved by everybody. In spite of all this, I'm going to continue blasting like you do. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be back again much sooner.